With a new year brings new budgets for states across the GCC. Last month saw Saudi Arabia reveal its 2019 budget, at the same time revealing the kingdom's efforts over the past few years to wean the kingdom off oil-driven revenues. Dubai also revealed its 2019 budget at the beginning of this year, with infrastructure and capital projects key components of both countries' budgets. My name is Jack Ball, Construction Week's senior reporter, and joining me to debrief on what these figures could mean for the region's built environment is Neha Bhatia, editor of Construction Week. So Neha, let's start with Saudi. What does the budget for 2019 look like? What are some of its key components?
I think the real highlight is that expenditure for the Saudi budget, both in 2018 and 2019, exceeded 1 trillion riyals. Now, that's obviously a lot of spending. Revenues are projected to grow by around 29% year on year, and revenues will reach around $238 billion odd dollars. So that's, I think, a very, very positive development for Saudi Arabia. And like you rightly said, there's a lot of focus on capital expenditure, capital projects as part of the Vision 2030 program. And again, as you pointed out, non-oil revenue will grow even more in 2019. And that obviously bodes well for the construction sector, because any economic diversification program you look at, be that tourism, be it entertainment, all of that is going to depend on construction. We're going to need to build more malls. We're going to need to build more themed entertainment complexes. So all in all, I think it looks really, really positive for Saudi Arabia and the construction companies that work there in 2019.
Now, so clearly a lot going on in that space. I wanted to touch on also social spending was also a key component for this year, and that again ties into the kingdom's Vision 2030 plans. Is that right? Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Yeah.
Absolutely. Job creation is obviously a priority in not just Saudi Arabia, but across the GCC. The Crown Prince pointed out during the announcement of the budget that the kingdom has allocated around 200 billion riyals in the medium term to implement initiatives that support private sector growth. Now, of course, that's where the majority of new jobs will come from. So I think that combined with the construction jobs that we'll see created through Qiddiya, through NEOM, and the other 5,000 odd projects that Saudi Arabia has underway at the moment, I think it's a very good time to be an engineer in Saudi.
No, particularly, I mean, we cover those giga projects extensively, and it's something that gained great traction from our readership, so we love to cover those, don't we? Let's move to Dubai. What does the Emirates 2019 budget look like for the coming year too?
So, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and the ruler of Dubai, approved the 2019 public budget for the Emirate. Planned expenditure within the document is at around $15.5 billion. That's 57 billion dirhams. And the budget is based on population growth and the need to consistently develop and upgrade infrastructure, and of course the benefits that Dubai expects from hosting Expo 2020.
Interesting. I mean, clearly Expo 2020 is a central theme for the Emirate looking ahead. I think we're just under 2 years from opening the doors. How does that in particular affect the Emirates budget in more detail? What do you think?
I think, and as officials pointed out during the budget's launch, even though a considerable amount of infrastructure work was done last year for Expo 2020 and generally the social sort of ambitions of Dubai, around $2.5 billion have still been allocated for infrastructure projects in 2019. Now, these schemes will focus not just on development, but also upgrading Dubai's existing infrastructure. And that's obviously a priority because Dubai is a business hub, not just for the UAE, but for the GCC. And obviously, when you build better infrastructure networks, there's more scope for investors to actually come in, do business here. So all in all, I think it's very positive that Dubai understands that infrastructure is not a one-time investment, and that's the kind of approach that I think is really going to benefit, again, the construction companies that work here.
No, absolutely, and clearly the longer term vision that we've seen from the leadership here is something that is really going to benefit the Emirate looking ahead. Nail, thank you very much. Clearly to look forward to looking ahead over the next year. You've been watching Construction Week in Focus. We hope you've enjoyed watching the show as much as Neha and I have enjoyed recording it. If there is any topic that you would like us to discuss in another episode of Construction Week in Focus, do please get in touch. Our contact details are down below. But until next time, thank you for watching and goodbye.